Hey guys, we're live on the moon. I'd like to welcome you to my Moon Musings. If you've been following my videos over the last week or so, I've been doing some experiments with a new camera that I have. And tonight, it's a completely different experiment. I'm trying to record the moon at a higher resolution. I've been recording it at 720p. Well, I've been recording it higher than that, but I've been uploading to YouTube at 720p. And I've decided that I should be able to do the moon at 1080p, which is twice the resolution of 720. And so what I'm going to do for this survey, I'm going to do a complete survey with a 25 millimeter, as you can see, slow at 1080p. And if I succeed in doing this, this should be a first for YouTube, because I've never seen a video of the moon, a live video of the moon, recorded at 1080p. The other thing you'll notice, I moved my little, let me go over the edge. I moved my little date timestamp. Yeah, see, I have this thing set up on auto, so it jumped. Matter of fact, let me go over to advanced settings here and brighten it up just a bit. I'm not sure. I'm not out on the porch. It could have been a cloud that came in. And let's just continue this survey. Because I'm very anxious to see how the 1080p works out. Yeah, it looks like we got clouds coming in and out. That's why it's kind of varying a little bit. I do have the auto. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I mean, absolutely stunning. And at 1080p, I mean, if it really is working like I hope it is, it should be incredible. The trade-off is I am definitely recording it at 4 frames a second slower. But, I mean, such is life. That's the trade-off. If I can get twice the resolution, that means you'll see twice the resolution on your screen too. Now let me just kind of go up the shadow line now. And I know it's not the ideal night for the moon. See the detail? See all those mountain ranges right there in the center? And the trade-off is, for this test, I do not have let me for grins right now just try to turn autofocus on, because I got the complete moon in there. Okay, see it when you're on the moon physically completely, the autofocus works pretty good. But when you're kind of off in space and on the moon, then your autofocus isn't working. See how it goes in and out? But the good thing is it does bring in the moon in focus. Now the trade-off is, you see, I do not have a mouse right now. I deliberately I'll leave autofocus on just for a little bit more. You're guinea pigs, guys. Old Bill's doing some tests. I'm trying to I'm striving to give you the highest quality image of the moon on the YouTube. if as I possibly can. Okay, let me turn autofocus off now. See, when I do it, kind of kicks out of focus there for a second. Let me put it back in focus. Let me go up. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. If you watch my video on my camera, you've seen I have a wide range of lenses. I think, though, for this test, I'm going to use the 12 millimeter next. So bear with me, and I'm going to put in a 12 meter. Again, I'm testing. This is a unique test for me. This is the first time I've done, if it's working, a 1080p video of the moon live for me. For you, about an hour or two later, whenever you watch it. But it's pretty cool to be able to watch a 1080p movie of the moon, especially when I get up close and personal here in a little bit. I'm going to put in this is a 25 millimeter lens. I'm going to put in a 12 millimeter lens. We'll see what happens. So hang with me, guys. Okay, guys, we're back. And I'm now using a 12 millimeter lens on the moon. I have autofocus off, and let me see if I can use my motorized focus to focus it in. It's moving around because of the wind, or shall I say atmospherics. And I'll leave it right there and go down the shadow line. Again, this is a very unique test. This is at 1080p. I'm recording at 4 frames a second. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. It might be it won't turn out at all, and I'll just end up deleting it. Let me see all the detail now. Let me turn autofocus on right now and see what it does. See how it went in and out? See, because it moves in and out because it gets on focus. I think it's amazing that you can have a camera like this and actually go in and out of focus as it needs to. I'll leave autofocus on for just a little bit so you can see how it works. I moved the timestamp to the left side because whenever you're running 1080p movies on YouTube, they put a banner on the right side that says YouTube high definition video. See, again, see how it's going in and it moves in and then out of focus. It's adjusting for the focus of the moon. Again, if the atmospherics were stable, you would not see that as much because it would be probably more in focus all the time. But I think that with autofocus on, you can see an incredible amount of detail. The trade-off is I do not have this mouse to point out. I was looking at a cut line in the upper right-hand corner. But I think I'll be able to figure that out later on. But for right now, this is again a test. Now look at those craters, the crater right in the middle with kind of a crater on the edge, and then it looks like a little wishbone, whatever in the hell that is, I don't know. But if you look at the crater right below that crater, there's something strange. I mean, I have it centered right there. There's something strange about that. You say, well, why don't I use my zoom? Because the zoom only works, it seems, on the 5mm, and I'll be putting that in just a minute. But look at all the detail that you're seeing there. And again, I am taking everything right now is default, default, default. I'm not trying to bring out any more color than is the normal. I'm just trying to conduct a very controlled experiment, a 1080p experiment, which I think is a first on YouTube, to actually have a land-bound telescope bring you a live video feed of the moon in 1080p. Now it's at 5 frames a second. It seems to vary between 4 and 5, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. I don't care. 4 frames should be fine. It'd be a little jumpy, but I mean, we can live with that as long as we have the higher resolutions. The other thing I did on that little date timestamp, I made it a little bit smaller, I think, than it was before. And I might want to enlarge that, but again, I'm experimenting, and you are guinea pigs, guys. Now let me go up the edge, the circumference, and then when I get to the top, and I have autofocus on, I know it's jumping in and out, but I think it's worth having the minute focus control so you can see more details. As long as you know what it's doing. It's kind of like you're an astronomer. It's just like you have your own telescope in your backyard, on your porch, on your veranda, and you're looking at the moon, except old Bill's controlling it for you, but you're, just experimenting and seeing it. Now see that in the upper right hand corner. I'm going to go in one more time if I can. No, that's about it. I know some people don't have a problem with tunneling, but let me see if I can move. See if I move the camera that way. I do have a control where I can move the camera. It's called a pan. But see, I had it pretty much. That's as good as I can get it, guys. You see a little bit of a tunneling on the upper right hand corner, but it's not too bad. And there is our ferret. And again, I'm not going to be adjusting any of the brightness or contrast controls. But I mean, I have full control over that. I'm just trying, this is going to be a controlled experiment at 1080p. And for being controlled, I need everything just default. Okay, let me go into the surface right there. That's a good place. And let me pause and put in my my next lens. I'm not going to put the 5 in. I'm going to put the I think it's an 8. Hang with me, guys. Okay, guys, I've got an 8mm lens, and I do have autofocus on, and I have all of the other parameters defaulted for the camera. Now let's go over to the shadow line. Let me just show you what this is, a controlled 1080p test. That's why I'm not doing any fiddling. I could brighten it up, for example. See, I could brighten it up a bit. I could increase the contrast. Uh, I could increase color intensity. I mean, I could do a lot of things, but I'm sticking to defaults right now for this test, guys, because I need your guinea pigs, like I said, and I'm trying to learn how to use this camera. And this is my first test at a higher resolution upload to YouTube, 1080p, which means actually the image quality should be twice that which I was uploading before for you. The frames a second is lower. Uh, like right now, I'm at 4 frames a second. It varies 6, 5, 4. It's just a little lower than it was before. The trade-off is uh, I do not have control of a mouse. I mean, I can't show you a mouse. Now, if I was going to point the mouse, I'd point it in the upper left-hand corner at that particular. Matter of fact, that warrants us to zoom in. And this lens, this 8mm lens, does have zoom. I'm going to center uh, kind of right there. Now let's zoom into this. See that rectangular thing in the upper left? Let's zoom into the center right there and see what in the hell that is. Probably just a pile of rocks, but with the zoom, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I have 7 levels of zoom on this 8mm lens. Autofocus is still on, and you can see that it looks really strange. I don't know what that is. It looks like ramps or something going up to that crater. And then the upper left-hand corner, you can see we got some kind of a rectangular thing. I tell you what, for this test, let me leave it zoomed in for right now, and let's go down the. And it should be a 1080p. And let's go down the shadow line to see what we can see. I still have a 5mm lens that I'm going to put on next. So again, keep in mind this is an 8mm lens. I should be able to get in not quite twice as close on the next test. There's that wishbone in the upper left-hand corner of that crater. It's clearer this time. And again, this thing is set up on autofocus, guys. Right now I'm recording at 5 frames a second. There's something strange that's just off of center to the right. I don't know what it is. It's kind of strange. And you know old Bill, he's looking for everything that's strange. I'm looking for UFOs on the moon, guys. And look at those cuts. Kind of unusual cuts, and the mountains look kind of like they have kind of a texture to them, a sandy texture or something like to them, which they probably do anyhow. All the this is all default right here, the way it's set up. Let's kind of go up a little bit. What I'm going to do here So let it sit there and let me turn autofocus off. Let me readjust my focus on my motor mount focus. Just not. See, we're running into some distortion now. I'm trying to adjust. I have a motorized focus on my telescope, remotely controlled from the PC, and I'm trying to adjust that right now. Okay, now let me turn the autofocus on. And you can see it's going in and out. It's just not as good. Let me do this. Let me back out this zoom. And that's about it. If I go one more, see how in the upper right hand corner we start to get the tunneling effect? Okay. Okay, well let's wrap up this survey with this lens by going to the rim and then going up quickly around the circumference again. And then I will try, I'm not sure I'll have very much luck with the 5. I'll try the 5. And I'll finish up with my 25 again like I did the other night. I might not do a full survey with the 5. It depends on how the focus, how it works. You can see though I have a lot of flexibility with this new camera. I can really do an awful lot. That's why astronomers, I mean, to be able to change lenses on the camera and actually see images and record them at 1080p. Now that's see, I have autofocus on it. See how it tries to jump in and out of focus? It's amazing. The focus does vary from the top of the moon to the bottom of the moon. I mean, it clearly should, but I mean, this camera is so sensitive as to detect it. Okay, let me go right down to here and then let it go in focus again. That's a good place for us to pause. I'm going to put in the 5mm, guys, and we shall see what we shall see. And again, I have no idea what this is going to look like on the YouTube at 1080p, but I think it's going to be kind of neat. There's that rectangular building in that crater. I've seen that before. Okay, I'm putting it on pause. We'll look at that up close and personal with the 5. Hang with me, guys. Okay, guys, we're back with a 5mm lens, and we're looking at that rectangular object in that crater. Let's do this. Let's zoom in, and again, I have autofocus on right now, and it's actually doing remarkably well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's amazing. I have 8 levels of zoom with this 5mm lens, and I do have autofocus on, and you can see it weaving in and out of focus, but it is maintaining focus. Again, this is an experimental session, and I am correctly mic'd up this session. I'm trying to give you good audio, and I'm gonna just let it go down because we're gonna do a survey of the shadow line. I'm gonna try to do it close because I kind of like to see as much as I can, as close as I can. And you can see it move in and out of focus. It kind of beams in on it, then it moves the camera. This is a mechanic. This camera does have a mechanical, I believe it's mechanical focus, which is amazing. And it's truly amazing of the detail that we're seeing on this test. And again, this is all a test. I'm doing a 1080p video of the moon. As far as I know, it's the first one that anybody ever did on YouTube. I'll just let it go down slow. Just kind of creeping down. And look at the detail on the surface there. Little mountains, valleys, the darkness of the craters right on the shadow line, and then as you get out, you can see the granularity of the mountain. It's truly an amazing thing. There's our wishbone in the on the left side at 9 o'clock, kind of working its way up to 10, 11. I don't know anything about what it is, but it kind of looks like a wishbone. It looks to me like now it's a platform or something up in the air. And we're doing pretty good on the focus. It's actually fairly remarkable. And you can see the difference between the 8 and the 5. It's not quite twice as close, but it is quite a bit closer. I tell you what, I'm having such good luck with this. I think I'm going to try to put my 3mm on there and see what I can do with it. I have a 3mm. Let's do, before we get down to the bottom, let's back out the focus. The zoom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now, and you can see how it backed out. It's pretty neat having a camera on a telescope where you can actually truly zoom. Now, I don't have the range of zoom on those other lenses, but I do have it on the 5, which is really something. I'm very anxious to see what this does look like at 1080p. And seeing if YouTube accepts it at 1080p. Okay, let's go up. I have autofocus on, so it should correct itself as it gets more light. I don't know about you, but when you're watching these videos, I'd rather it all be in focus, and even if it moves in and out, which tells you it's doing a focus. That to me that's acceptable. That doesn't bother me at all. That just tells me that the optics are working correctly. And it's kind of like if I went there to the front of the lens and did an adjustment, you'd see me going in and out of focus. That's what it's doing. It's doing a physical adjustment on the and you can see in the upper left corner, see that little dark haze? That's, if I zoomed in one more time, see that goes away, and you can completely get rid of tunneling. Okay, let's sit there and let it see if it goes in focus. See how it works on focus, and then it goes in focus. Pretty cool. I know it's a little darker because I'm not concentrating on the coloring. I'm not concentrating on the brightness or the contrast, because I want this to truly be as controlled as I can for this test. But I have full ranging control of contrast, brightness, and color. Exposure, I mean, just like I did with the Chinese camera. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go down into the moon and see if I can do anything with this 3mm. There's that. We'll try to go look at that rectangle again. That's a good. I'll sit right here. I'll put the 3mm on. If I come back with a 3, you know it worked. If I come back with a 25, you know it didn't. So hang with me, guys, and we'll pick this up in just a second. Okay, guys, we're back with a 3mm lens with autofocus on. Now I know I got a tunnel, but again, I got a 3mm lens working on the moon, and we're looking at what we looked at before. That funny thing with a ramp, I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not going to do a complete survey with this lens, but I will try to go up there and look at that rectangular, which I think is right up here somewhere. That rectangular object in that crater, if I can find it. I do have again autofocus on. It's nothing to write home about, but this will give you an idea of why those particular lenses, those lenses with the 60 degrees work. There it is right there. I was looking for it. See that rectangular thing in that crater? I don't know what it is. Looks like a rectangular object just sitting right in the middle of that crater. Let's do this. Since I have this lens on and I've never used it before, let's just creep down the. Let's go in where there's more light. Okay. And let it creep down. I'll be honest with you, I think that I'll have better luck. I'm not going to do Barlow tests tonight, but I think I'll have better luck with that new lens, like that 5mm with a Barlow, than I'm going to have with it. This is a Zoom-L 3mm lens designed for easy, but this will give you an idea. The camera will work with other lenses. It's just that you know, sometimes you're going to have that tunneling, and there's no way to get. I wish I was an optical engineer, then I could just say, well, I need to put this lens right here in front, and I'll put it there, and it'll fix everything. But I just don't have that knowledge. But you can see how it's focusing in and out, and It's not the cleanest picture, but I mean it is a 3mm lens on the moon. So, and it's pretty much in focus. It's you know, it's up close and personal, very personal. My own druthers, I like to look at the full image in HD, so you probably won't see me using this lens anytime soon after this little test. But it does give you an idea of what other lenses uh, could possibly do with this camera. I think the camera though works well with the Astrotech series of lenses. Okay, I'm going to put it on pause, or let's just go down here into this mountain range and just see if it can focus any better. I'm going to turn autofocus off. And see if I can manually see, it's just not getting in focus. I can't even manually focus it. And then I turn autofocus on it. See how it jumps in and out. It does better, but it's amazing when you go to the bottom of the moon, then the focus is tougher. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm going to put it on pause and finish this thing up with a 25. Hang with me. Almost done. Okay, guys, finishing it up. Good session. I had put the 25mm back in there. You can see we have a lot of clarity. I'm very, very anxious to see what this 1080p does. For you purists out there, for me to do a 1080p, I had to record this at 1920 by 1080. So that'll give you an idea of what I'm doing. And I know I have autofocus on right now. Everything's auto. And I know that it's getting like 4 or 5 frames a second, but that should be enough for what we're looking at. And if this did do a 1080p of the moon, this is the first time I've seen one on YouTube. And it should be an incredible image on a PC screen. But it would be better if you're going to watch this thing in all its glory to watch it on a television set, a high definition television set. Just put your MacBook, plug in an HDMI cable, and plug it into your TV and watch it. That's how I watch these things. And you can see it jumping in and out every once in a while to get in focus, but that's okay. For me, that's fine. And again, I know that that I could adjust that, but I'm not going to adjust it. I want everything on auto. There's a controlled test for this entire session. By the way, Henning and I are kibitzing about getting together on the 8th. That's when that what is it, YU 55 comes in onto the moon. My intent is to watch the moon the entire night, and Henning and I are going to have we shared each other's phone number. We'll be able to do live video from the moon. So it'll be kind of interesting. It's always interesting to see live video from the moon, but it's all when you're looking at it from 2 different cameras, that really Should be exciting. Uh, Especially if we can somehow put them together and make one video, and it should be real interesting. Anyhow, this will give you an idea where we were at and what we were looking at. Let's go up just a little bit to that. I might have passed it. I might not have. I was looking for that. Yeah, it's up just. Remember that last thing we were looking at, the rectangle in the. You see it right there at 10 o'clock. The rectangle in the crater. That'll give you an idea of how close we were with that 3 mm. I don't think I'm going to use that 3 mm again. I'm just not. I'm really impressed with these Astrotech lenses, and I'll be interested in conducting some experiments with Barlow's. Okay, that's good enough. Good survey. Good evening. In the meantime, I wish you and yours clear skies, guys.